The first time I heard an alien child scream, I knew I was already too late. The sound cut through the burning corridors of the Star Palace like a blade, raw, terrified, and painfully human despite coming from a species that wasn't. Alarms howled in alien frequencies. The air shimmered with failing shields. Above me, the vaulted ceiling cracked as orbital fire shook the capital of the Varelian Empire. And somehow, in the middle of all that chaos, I understood one thing with absolute clarity. If I didn't move now, the galaxy would lose something irreplaceable. I was not supposed to be there. I was a human auxiliary Earthborn, Deathworld trained, assigned as a cultural observer to the Queen's court. A polite way of saying disposable outsider. When the coup began, my escort fled. When the guards fell, no one came back for me. But I ran toward the scream anyway. That decision would change everything. The palace of Queen Seren was not built for human bodies. Gravity fluctuated. Corridors bent at impossible angles. Bioluminescent walls pulsed like living veins, dimming as power failed. I stumbled through smoke and shattered crystal, my lungs burning, my rifle useless after its battery fried under an EMP blast. And still, I ran. Because the scream came again, closer this time, and it was smaller, weaker, edged with pain. I found the nursery in ruins. The door had been torn apart, not blasted, ripped open by something with claws and military training. Inside, the room was a massacre. Royal guards lay dead, their armor split like fruit. The air reeked of ozone and blood. In the center of it all was the child. She was Varelian, scaled skin like polished pearl, eyes too large for her delicate face, her crest only half-grown. Royal markings glowed faintly along her neck, flickering as her life signs failed. She was trapped beneath a collapsed support beam, its alien alloy pinning her small body to the floor. And standing over her was the assassin. Tall. Four-armed. Null mask visor glowing red. A silence fell between us. He laughed. A harsh, clicking sound. "Human," he said, translating through his suit. "You are irrelevant." Maybe I was. But I had been irrelevant my whole life. I charged. I don't remember the fight clearly. Only fragments, pain exploding as he struck me, bones cracking, blood in my mouth. I remember grabbing a shard of broken crystal and driving it into a joint in his armor. I remember screaming, not in fear, but in fury. And finally, I remember him falling. When it was over, I collapsed beside the child, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Her breathing was shallow. Her eyes fluttered, unfocused. She was dying. I had no medical training in alien physiology. No med kits. No time. So I did the only thing I could. I lifted the beam. It should have crushed me. It weighed more than a ground vehicle. My muscles screamed. My vision went white. Something tore in my shoulder. But it moved. I dragged her free, cradling her against my chest as the palace shook again. I pressed my jacket against her wound, trying to slow the shimmering blue blood spilling from her side. "Stay with me," I whispered, even though I didn't know if she could understand. "Please. Just stay." Her small clawed hand latched onto my finger. And then the world went dark. I woke up in chains. That was the first thing I noticed, gravity cuffs locking my limbs to a medical gurney. The second was the pain. Every nerve screamed. My body felt shattered, barely held together by humming fields and alien machines. The third was the silence. Not empty silence. Heavy silence. The kind that comes when powerful beings are watching you. I turned my head. Queen Sarin stood at the foot of the gurney. She was taller than any Varelian I'd seen, her presence overwhelming. Her crown was grown, not worn, a living halo of crystal spines glowing with restrained fury. Court officials, generals, and priests lined the chamber, all watching me with unreadable expressions. Her eyes were fixed on me. "You are the human," she said. Her voice carried the weight of planets. "Who entered my daughter's chamber?" My mouth was dry. "Yes, Your Majesty." "You killed the assassin." "Yes." "You touched my child." Every instinct screamed danger. "Yes," I said again. "To save her." The Queen stepped closer. Each footstep echoed like judgment. "For 10,000 cycles," she said, "no outsider has ever laid hands upon a royal heir and lived." She raised her hand. The guards tensed. "And yet," she continued, "my daughter lives." A ripple passed through the chamber. "She speaks your name in her sleep," the Queen said softly now. "In her pain, she called for you." I swallowed. "I'm glad she's alive." The Queen studied me for a long moment. Then she did something no one expected. She knelt. The entire court gasped. She lowered her crowned head until her eyes were level with mine. "You bled for her," she said. "You suffered for her. You defied fear, logic, and survival instinct." Her gaze sharpened. "Why?" I didn't have a grand answer. No heroic speech. Just the truth. "Because she was a child," I said. "And someone needed to stand between her and the dark." The silence that followed was absolute. When the Queen stood, her voice carried across the chamber like a declaration carved into stone. "Then you will no longer be known by the name your world gave you." She raised her hand, and the chains released. "In our tongue," she proclaimed, "you shall be called Vilatan." The court murmured in awe. The Queen turned to them. "It means shield of the future. The one who stood when all others fell." I didn't understand the words. But I understood the weight. From that day on, everything changed. Allies became cautious. Enemies grew silent. Messages spread across the stars, not of a weapon or a fleet, but of a human who had saved a queen's child and been claimed by her honor. I was offered land, titles, power. I refused most of it. Instead, I stayed. Sometimes, I sit beside the young princess as she plays among the palace gardens. She laughs now. She is healing. When she sees me, she runs forward without fear and wraps her arms around my leg. "My shield," she calls me. The Queen watches from a distance, her expression unreadable. The galaxy still burns. Wars still rage. Darkness still spreads. But now, when rulers speak of humanity, they do not say Deathworld scavengers or violent primitives. They say a name. A name given by a queen. A name earned in fire. And they remember that once, when the future of an empire screamed in the dark, a human answered and refused to step aside.